Coming to you this day from the East Gallery of the Rhode Island House of Representatives, my name is Dave Barber. In a segment we call Capitol Spotlight. We take a few moments before a session and talk with a member of the General Assembly about some of the things they've been working on and how it might impact you, the Rhode Island citizen. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome a gentleman that we've talked to before, although it's been some time. Good to have him back with us, representing the wonderful community of North Kingstown, the Honorable State Representative Bob Craven. Representative, good to see you.
Thank you, David. Good to be here.
And you're in your second year in the House of Representatives, and I'll tell you, you came out of nowhere. You were an interesting success story in politics, kind of at the last minute decided to throw your hat in the ring, and here you are mixing things up. Second year, is it what you expected so far?
Mostly yes, but actually I'm very fond of most of the people I've met up here, if not all of them. It's a very eclectic group. Kind of figured it was going to be a bunch of lawyers like myself, and that's not the case at all.
Well, I know that one of the things that you've been concerned about here in our state is the estate tax. You've been working on that. There's been legislation talked about, I know, in the past regarding the estate tax. Some people view it as an impediment to growth here in our state. What have you been working on, and tell us about the legislation?
I've submitted a bill which has the support of the leadership, particularly one of the prime sponsors is Leader Mattiello. The bill will do two things and have an appropriate result. The first thing it's going to do is raise the limit by which one can be exempt from the estate tax from about $900,000 to $2 million. The second thing it will do is currently, if you had $900,001, they would go back and tax $1. There will be no reach back under this bill, and you will be completely exempt from taxes up to $2 million, and then from their dollars thereafter, you would be taxed.
Yeah, and so it was interesting because one might think that if the ceiling was $900,000 and they had an estate of $910,000, they'd pay taxes on just the $10,000, but that isn't the case currently.
That is not the case. No.
And why is it important? What will be the upside benefit if this legislation goes into effect?
Well, it'll help us retain people that are currently being advised by lawyers all across the state to establish residency in another state where the estate tax is either eliminated or more favorable. And let me tell you a perfect example. I'm an attorney. The Rhode Island Bar Journal comes out once a month. And in November, the feature article, it was kind of like how-to for lawyers to give them advice, was the estate tax. The first thing that they suggested that lawyers do when they sit down with a client who's planning an estate was to establish residency in another state. Now, one of the things that does is it causes someone to leave Rhode Island and establish residency for at least 6 months and a day, and an unintended consequence, I believe, from avoiding the estate tax is if you're not a resident of Rhode Island, you don't have to pay state income taxes. So your CPA the following year would say, by the way, Bob, you don't have to pay income taxes anymore. And so for the duration of their life, we've lost them as a resident, and they are no longer going to have to pay a state income tax.
Now, as we deal with this, winter vortex, are some of the states that are more favorable, i.e., to the estate tax, are they in warm climates by chance?
By chance they are, yes. Many of them are. Florida being the most likely destination, so to speak. And these are people they're going to keep their house up here. But all they have to do legally is live or establish residency for 6 months and a day in another state where it's obviously more favorable. And in addition to not having to pay the estate tax, they're also not going to be paying state income tax. And that costs the state of money a lot of money. I'm looking to keep those people and keep their income tax.
Well, and not only that, but if they are indeed following the letter of the law in residing in that other state for 6 months and a day,
yep.
they're doing business. They're spending their money in another state with other retailers, with other business people that are in that other state. And so as a result, Rhode Island business and sales tax, et cetera, is all lost as a result.
That is correct. And I will tell you one thing. It is one of the top priorities of the Providence Chamber of Commerce to pass this legislation in its current form to retain not only the folks that I'm suggesting, but to attract new business. Because if some new business comes into Rhode Island, 50 or 100 jobs, they're probably from a larger company, and the executives are saying, maybe we shouldn't locate in Rhode Island because of these unfavorable tax issues.
Representative, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to talk to us today. It's an interesting issue, and I think you have some strong arguments for your case. Are you optimistic it's going to happen?
I am very optimistic that we'll be able to pull it off, yeah.
Well, that will be good news for Rhode Island taxpayers. Thank you so much for talking to us
Thanks,
today.
Dave. I appreciate it.
And of course, we could not do it without you. From the East Gallery of the Rhode Island State House, I'm Dave Barber.